In 1985, there was nothing in the world I wanted more than any Transformer, but especially Optimus Prime. And I didn't get him. In 1988, Optimus Prime was back as a Power Master. This was my chance! Again, didn't happen. Suddenly it was 1990 and the classic Autobot heroes were back. Finally, I would get an Autobot Commander of my very own. The one everyone hates. In 1991 there were a few different Optimus Prime toys available in the UK if you knew where to look. Maybe you could still find a Power Master Prime in the dusty back corner of your local toy store. Another possibility was finding a grey import Mexican version of the OG Optimus, with or without the deadly lead paint. To combat this, Hasbro introduced the Classics line of reissues, starting with the larger Autobot cars and some of the combiners in 1990, and expanding the line further the following year, including Classics Optimus Prime. I remember seeing Classics Prime in the 1991 Toys R Us catalogue and being super excited. When my dad asked me what I wanted for Christmas that year, it was a no-brainer. And so he went into Aberdeen to the Jolly Giant Toy Superstore, the closest thing throughout most of Scotland to Toys R Us at the time. Before Christmas he showed me what he got to verify it was right. But it wasn't the chunky die-cast incarnation of everyone's favourite cartoon robot truck pal from 1984. It was... Well, we'll let the shouty man who replaced Willie Rushton explain it.
New Transformer Action Master vehicles, ultimate transforming vehicles with Transformer drivers and pilots. Like Gut Cruncher, the evil Decepticon, in his Stratojet, it transforms into a mobile missile base. But Action Master Optimus Prime is out to stop him on his incredible Armored Convoy. It transforms into a scout jet and the most awesome battle station ever. Action Master Transformers!
I'll talk about Action Masters as a subline of Transformers in another video. They're still widely reviled by a good portion of the fandom, but I liked them at the time and I still do. So I wasn't angry at my dad for getting a different toy than the one I'd asked for. He offered to take it back, but I decided to keep it. The truth is that even when the Transformers were at the height of their popularity in the mid-80s, living in rural Scotland, there were so many times I'd go to the toy store excited to get a new Autobot or Decepticon, and they just didn't have any. Not even one. There were definitely a few times where I ended up getting a Rock Lord, a He-Man toy, or a tiny Lego set instead, just so I didn't go home empty-handed. By 1991, some stores like Argos weren't stocking Transformers at all, so I knew that if I sent this Optimus back, there was a very good chance I'd never get the Classics one. Original Optimus may have been Mr. Right, but Action Master Optimus was Mr. Right now. If I had known that the specific toy in front of me had a very glaring defect, I probably would have said, send him back. Cut to Christmas Day 1991 and I did pretty well. I got a Hasbro WWF ring.
I love the new WWF ring!
A Commodore 64. And yes, Action Master Optimus Prime. But when my new Autobot leader was unboxed, there was an issue. Up to this point, I'd only ever had two Transformers that had defects out of the box. One was my original Topspin toy. The other was Classics Pearl. Both were missing a screw and fell apart as soon as they were taken out of the box. An easy fix, but Action Master Optimus had a more severe problem. The hole where the metal ball intersects with the leg was slightly bigger than it should have been, so much so that the leg would constantly drop off during play, a real problem when we're talking about the most prominent Autobot of them all. By this point I was almost 12, and I was still playing with my Transformers, but not in the aggressive rough and tumble in the backyard way that little kids do. Despite this, time has not been kind to Action Master Optimus or his Armored Convoy. The metal bar that just barely held his legs onto his torso snapped. Eventually I ended up placing some blue tack between the joints just to try and jam it all together. Some of the guns went missing over time, one just snapped at the post somehow and looks like it's been chewed on. and the stickers, which I did an unusually shoddy job of applying, have started peeling off. Seriously, how did I get these so wrong? That's not even close to where they should go. Recently I got the remainder of my G1 toys out of storage and on display, and I still have a soft spot for this toy. It's my first Optimus, so I decided I would finally give him a tune-up. It started with me finding a seller on eBay who just happened to be offering the leg I needed for Optimus, and 3 of the black cannons for the trailer. That almost seemed too good to be true since I needed one of those too. Well, now I was only short one accessory, one of the orange guns for the seat and the back of the trailer, so why not get those too? What about the stickers? Well, I couldn't find anyone offering replacement ones online, so if I wanted new ones I'd have to make them myself. That left the issue of the broken parts that hold the Optimus Prime toy together. Action Master construction is quite similar to G.I. Joe's. A seller in Hong Kong was offering a repair kit that included all the parts to fix a bunch of Joes for only a few pounds, including the T-hooks. The only catch was that I need to wait for them to show up. Once the parts had arrived, it was time to get to work. On the operating table are Action Master Optimus Prime, Action Master Jackpot, and a broken G.I. Joe nunchuck figure I had lying around from 2002. Action Masters, G.I. Joes, and Microman figures all share a similar structure. On all 3 types of figures, the legs swivel on ball joints held together on a metal bar with a hook in the middle. That hook has a rubber ring around it that loops around the torso, and in the case of G.I. Joe's allows rotation and swivelling at the waist. Looking at Jackpot we can see that there's no waist swivel, but other than that structurally he's quite similar. The rubber is still intact and is holding the legs in place exactly as it should do. Optimus is a different story. Not only is his T-hook broken, but the rubber band is gone. Where it's vanished to is anyone's guess. There's also some residual blue tack that I put in there back in the day just to try and hold everything together, so that'll need to be cleaned out. As an aside, you might expect that every Action Master would share the same construction, but there are some minor differences. On Optimus Prime, the pins that hold the torso together are in the chest and fit into the holes in the back. On Jackpot, the reverse is true. So G.I. Joes and Action Masters on the surface appear to use the same parts, and you might think that having sourced replacement Joe components, this should be an easy fix. I know that's what I thought, but as it turns out there are small but critical differences between them. Action Master T-hooks have slightly larger balls on them than Joe's do. That means that if you try to place them on an Action Master, even one with good non-worn legs, they'll just slip out. To double check this, I tried the replacement T-hooks that I'd ordered, then nunchucks. I even dismantled my old Autobot Commander just to confirm if early Joes were closer to Action Masters. All of them were too small. Thinking on my feet, I realised that Microman figures also had a similar construction to both Joes and Action Masters. And yes, if you take a Microman toy apart, the balls on the T-hooks are closer to Action Masters. At this point I thought I'd solved the problem. I put Optimus back together using the Microman T-hook only to discover that the width was too small for an Action Master pelvis, and it was impossible to get both legs to stay on that smaller hook at the same time. Well, that's it then. Surely the only way to fix an Action Master with a broken T-hook is find another junker Action Master on eBay with an intact one? Or is it? I got to thinking that if only I could insert some kind of stopper into Prime's legs that would prevent the T-hook from slipping out. But it would need to be a really small flat piece of plastic that would fill the gap and not impede movement. The solution was right in front of me. Nunchuck, or at least part of it, was a small plastic rod with bell-shaped hooks on either end. Placing those inside Prime's hips meant that now a new G.I. Joe grade T-hook would work seamlessly in an Action Master body. With the new elastic band, he now holds together the way that he should have out of the box. He has full movement of the legs, he can sit down, everything you could ask for. Of course, the easier thing to do in this situation is just don't use G.I. Joe parts at all and swap out the T-hook from another Action Master. But if nothing else, I can say that this turned out to be a real learning experience for me in action figure construction. With Optimus rebuilt, and Jackpot, and Cobra Commander, and Microman Guy, I didn't bother putting Nunchuck back together. It was time to move on to restoring the Armored Convoy. Producing the stickers turned out to be an all-day project that involved a lot of tinkering in Photoshop. My initial printouts weren't an exact match for the stock ones. As you can see here, I couldn't quite get that lurid orange right. The other issue I had was that the reproduction of the Autobot symbols on the trailer wasn't up to scratch. Some of the tiny details weren't showing up, so I ended up doing another printout after this, and the good news is that it turned out a bit closer to the original decals. The next step will be to remove the original stickers, then we get to the fun part, re-stickering the toy, and doing it right this time. So here's the jet portion of the Armored Convoy now that it's been re-stickered. The cab/jet is by far the better part of the Armored Convoy, and thankfully this part of the toy has held up fairly well. The hardest part here was getting the hood stickers aligned correctly. They're curved on one side and angular on the other, and it can take a couple of attempts to get them aligned correctly and to make sure that they're symmetrical. I think I may have made the keep clear stickers on the back fractionally bigger than the real ones, but it's no big deal. Fortress mode now has the benefit of having all the weapons, plus a few spare. Even all kitted out, it's a little bit underwhelming. Definitely not the most awesome battle station ever. In fact, out of all of the base modes we got in G1, I'd say this one ranks somewhere near the bottom of the list. No, this toy is all about the truck mode. Starting with the cab. Other than the aforementioned hood stickers, the biggest challenge here was that the headlight stickers on mine were long gone and I couldn't get a good reference for them online. Almost every Armored Convoy truck I looked at either didn't have them, or they were peeling off, so I ended up having to approximate the look to the best of my ability. Weirdly, I can't get Optimus to sit right in the cab now, like his figure specifically is just a little too wide to fit in the cab. Maybe it's just me. The full truck mode with the trailer is where this toy really comes into its own. You only have some of the guns and stickers, it can become kinda threadbare. Seeing it now fully restored and with the other Autobots hanging out in the back is what it's all about. There's definitely a silliness about this toy. It's a guy who's as big as a truck, who used to be a truck, and now he drives the truck. It doesn't have the realistic vehicle appeal of the original Optimus Prime, but I'd say it's at least as good as the Power Master Prime truck mode. Officially, you're supposed to keep the big double-barreled cannon folded up in truck form, but I always thought that the trailer looked cooler with them on display. I can see why Optimus might want to keep those retracted though. Imagine him driving to your planet in his giant truck with this gigantic weapon on display insisting that he comes in peace. On that note, let's get to the man himself. It come, it is, Optimus Prime is back! You've been here for 28 years, you never left! Oh yeah. Finally, after all this time, my Action Master Optimus Prime is a fully functioning toy that I can pick up without him falling to pieces. My only regret is that it took so long to get around to fixing him. Action Master Prime probably isn't anyone's favourite Optimus toy, but he'll always be my first OP, and it's been a fun project to restore him to his rightful status. Now if only I could get Action Master Megatron the fusion cannon he so desperately needs. Speaking of missing guns, what is this? Did nobody ever notice that we didn't actually get this as part of the toy? So weird.